if TikTok and YouTube weren't around, I'm sure you would have to navigate this whole industry in a different way. But listen, there's pros and cons, I believe. Like, people talk about, you know, oh, back in the day when they were making music, they didn't have, if they had social media now, it would have helped their career more and everything. And I think it's a blessing and a curse. I know there's pros and cons to it, but I really feel like, people have been very supportive on your videos, saying all these wonderful comments, and it must be very encouraging for you to keep going forward, right?
Definitely. I read every single comment, even the bad ones, but it's I don't take things too much to heart, and I all the positivity, that's where I really focus on, because there's no room for the negative. But yeah, I mean, I try to talk to my fans online every single day. I try to really engage with that community, and um the industry's changed so much. The world has changed so much. And over the last 10 years, everything's online. And the way that you could just reach people now, and the accessibility of it all is so different. And even for me, from like a fan perspective to other artists, it's such, TikTok, YouTube, social media has been so tremendous in connecting to my fan base, but also, discovering other artists. And there's just so many talented people out there. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, and is that how you've been collaborating with many people? You've been kind of reaching out to people on social media and kind of just I get either meeting up with them or doing it either through like Zooms too, just meeting people. I guess you just get to interact with so many people along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of people like duet some of my videos, and then I see the videos, and then we're DMing, and we kind of have like friendships from, people in Australia that are producers that are duetting things, and people in London. And even like with my career now, I was Tommy Brown, who is a tremendous producer, so talented. He does everyone under the sun. He had his, A&R reach out to me from one of my, I think it was an Instagram reel. And since then, we've been making music for about a year, and he's, executive producing my entire project. So that was all just from social media, seeing a video. And now I just have like this amazing community of his writers and producers.
That's awesome. And you said this quote, and I really liked it. You said, "My goal in creating music is to share my stories in hopes of connecting with others. I want to impact people the way that my favorite artists have impacted me." So my question to you is, how do you balance that vulnerability while still maintaining your privacy when putting your own stories into music?
I think with my music and my narrative, it was always really important, and especially being online, and being, I suppose, a public figure, to be authentic and to be a safe space, and to, just be myself, because that's what people have been coming back to see is, like, who is she? And I feel like that's just been something that I try to do authentically me. And it's in my narrative and my music. And I think the best artists are, people that have a vision. And it doesn't always necessarily take a team. I'm an independent artist, but it does take, a group of people that understand your potential, and this community online that's been embracing it. And I'm just really grateful for that.
Yeah, and what I love about your music too, and what your vision is that you have very thought-provoking lyrics in your songs, I noticed, and they have a lot of meaning to it. There's a lot of themes. Do you believe that like a lot of artists have a responsibility to use their platform to address certain topics and issues that are going on in the world as well?
I think it's important to have an opinion, and I think it's important to be an advocate for people, because not everyone has the privilege of that voice in, online, and having that presence. So I think it's important. Um, yeah, I mean, and I think also as an artist, it's like your music is telling things that words maybe can't. And for my music, at least, I want it to kind of be, every song and every release that I have is a little world that people can get lost in. Um, whether that's maybe to address a certain issue, or kind of to act as an escape from a reality.
Yeah, it's kind of like movies, right? It's kind of like you watch a movie to escape reality sometimes. Like the filmmakers are often telling a story where it may not be 100% related to themselves, but they're always putting a little bit of themselves in these stories, whether it's like a theme or something, and whether they're talking about a cultural issue or anything like of that matter. And I think it's important that when people like us listen to your music, yeah, you're right. We get to understand who you are as a person. And then it just, I guess it tells a story that many other artists can't tell. So it's important. People can just not only relate to the music, but they get to relate to you after.
I think when they're able to find themselves in one of my records, that's kind of like the most gratifying thing as an artist because it's like, okay, I'm doing my job, like people are resonating with it. And that's like kind of my purpose is fulfilled at that point.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the start of the interview that you have such like a unique voice. How do you incorporate all these different sounds while still maintaining, I guess, Gabi Sklar's theme of music?
It's so funny because if you listen to, my voice 10 years ago, which please don't, but I didn't have I needed to find, I think, the emotion behind it. And I think the way that I found that was just living. I think the best thing you could do as a singer, as a performer, as an artist, as a human being, is just to live and gain those experiences. And then when you are singing and you're performing, especially with a cover, you're putting on almost that character and you're tuning into the emotions that resonate with you in that song, even though maybe you haven't gone through it, if it's a cover, or maybe you have, like you just connect to it. And I find that when I sing, I just, I try to tune into like what they're really saying, what those lyrics really are. And then, it's very therapeutic, I have to say, especially
Yeah.
hitting the floor. It's,
I was gonna say, yeah. So where did that come about? Like, how did that start happening? Was it just something like you just got so into the music, you just had to start banging your foot? Like,
You know what? It's like I have to give credit to, I think, Vine. I feel like in the past, I grew up with Vine instead of TikTok, and Instagram, I think, was just becoming a thing. But I remember seeing a couple videos on Vine and people would, kind of keep rhythm that way. And I thought that was so cool. Then years later, I got onto TikTok and I was in the laundry room of my parents' house, which a lot of people didn't know because it was just a wooden floor, it was a white wall, but I would kind of like prop my phone up on the washing machine and I would just start recording. And I found like my favorite videos were videos that maybe weren't as produced and kind of just showed, raw talent of other people singing. And so I felt like it was kind of a cool start to just do voice, just vocals, just kind of start there. And ended up resonating with people. And so I kind of just kept doing the same thing. And my hand is suffering. I am bruised. A lot of people ask how my hand's doing. It's tough out there, but no, I love it.
yeah. What's interesting is that like a lot of people when they want to start a career, whether it's singing or acting or anything, they always think they have to have like the greatest technology to do it. They have to have all the best equipment, this, that. But what you did was something like you didn't let anything stop you. You said, I'm gonna do my laundry room, prop my phone on a washing machine. And that's it. You didn't need all this fancy equipment because you have the raw talent. And I think if people are not afraid to show off the raw talent, I think they'd be open to surprising themselves because again, I think people when they think about starting something, they think I have to have all these things, so they don't end up pursuing their dreams because they go, "Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that." So you're a big inspiration to a lot of people that are trying to break out in this industry. And again, like I mentioned, that you see it in the comments. I've seen people say like, "I started singing because of you." Like when you hear stuff like that, that must be very rewarding, no?
Absolutely. I mean, it gives me purpose. Like I said, it's just to see people resonating with, you know, at the end of the day, the videos are shot on a phone. Most of the time, there's not a mic unless I have a mic in frame, and I feel like what I want people to take away is you got to start somewhere. A lot of people I think are a little afraid of what other people may think of them, or if I post this video and it gets 2 views and one is my mom and one is my best friend, I can't continue doing this because no one's going to care. But that is so so far from the truth. And you just got to start and you got to keep doing it. And just know that eventually your people are going to find you and love you for who you are. And you don't need all that technology. It just starts with if you have a phone and a voice or a talent that you want to pursue, just got to go for it.
And a dream. All that with a dream.
And a dream. Yes.
There you go. Well, I heard you actually collect records, by the way, and I'm actually a record collector myself. Oh, okay. So I don't know if you wanted to show a couple or if you wanted to just talk about a couple, but what are some of your favorites? Because I wanted to show you mine too. So what are some of your favorites?
So I think this is kind of cheating because it's kind of combining two, but Born to Die Paradise Edition by Lana Del Rey, which is two of her albums combined into one.
Okay.
Um, I have this Nirvana, it's like an MTV live session shot in, I believe, New York, like way back in the 90s,
Hmm.
way back in the 90s, as if that's like so long ago. But love that one. I also have an Arctic Monkeys live performance one where it's just kind of like a bunch of their songs. Um, but I love, Nirvana, Nevermind. I love Arctic Monkeys, all of them from their earlier stages in their career. Um, Dolly Parton, anything. Nancy Sinatra. I don't know. I mean, Miley's Plastic Hearts, that was a great one. Um, I can keep going, so you might want to stop me,
Yeah,
honestly.
no, I love it. I love it. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna show you a couple of mine, see if you recognize any of the.
Yeah.
No, listen, you probably do because your range is like spectacular. You'll sing like all these old songs, new songs. So I wanna test out your knowledge on these. All right, so the first one I got a Frank Sinatra one.
Love it.
Okay, so that's
I'm
one.
a Nancy fan, so.
I love it. And then this one, you'll notice my love for music is very like obscured. It goes from like one genre to one year to this to that.
I love that. That's how it should be.
Should be right. Yeah. So I got this one of Santana, one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Love Santana.
that's a good
Got,
one,
got a Michael Jackson Thriller. Obviously, you gotta have that one.
obviously.
I got a couple more. One sec. Oh, this is a good one. Yellow. I
I
love
actually
them.
don't know that.
You don't know them?
No.
Okay, you gotta listen to them. They're good. They're a 70s band. They're really good.
This
And
is
they
great
have
for me. I'm discovering new music.
there you go. See, look, we get to broaden our horizon like this. Oh, this
Yeah.
one's cool. I watched again Bohemian Rhapsody last night again, the movie, but
Oh,
Queen,
so good.
love that. And
That
then
is,
the last one is Earth, Wind, and Fire.
you got good ones. You like all the classics.
I'm an old soul, as some people say.
You know what though? I love like my thing is people be like, "Oh, what are you listening to now? What new artists do you like? What new music you like?" And to me, new music is relative. It doesn't have to be new. It doesn't have to be on New Music Friday. It could be things maybe from other decades that you've never explored before. So that's
Hmm.
kind of my thing and challenge to myself is like whenever I'm like, I need new music, I just go back because I personally love catalog music. I love exploring different decades and just kind of dedicating myself to a decade for a week. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and you know what's interesting about like vinyl, especially, which I'm noticing. I'm not sure if you can relate to this, but when you have Spotify, right, and listen to your music, like in general, like any music,
Mm.
you sometimes don't listen to the full song or you just keep skipping. And since it's so accessible, I feel like you don't appreciate it as much. With a vinyl, it's like a whole experience. You get to sit down, you play it, you sit back, and you just get lost in it. Like, do you get that vibe?
Absolutely. I mean, it serves its purpose in whichever way you want it to. It's like
Yeah.
I'm very guilty. I'll put on a vinyl. I'll like light a candle. I'll deep clean my room. I'll kind of like decompress, it's or you can just sit there and do a face mask. It's just have a cocktail if you can drink.
There
It's an
you go.
experience.
I would love to live a day in the life of you. Yeah, cocktails, therapeutic, all these things. I'm like, wow, I don't do any of that stuff. I gotta
And
light
an
a candle
ideal
every single
day
day.
when you have time. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, listen, this is why the music industry is so unique and why I love talking to people like you that I get to just learn about things. Because even when you get to perform live, that must be a very powerful experience for yourself just to connect with your audience. but for some, it can be very frightening, right? So I guess like how do you go about performing and making it a comfortable experience for not only you, but your fans?
I think that there are times where I do get a little, anxious before I go on, but I think when you're actually singing and stuff and you kind of get lost in it and the adrenaline only helps, I think. What's crazy is I actually have not performed any of my new music live. So I'm so excited to do that because that's just going to be a very different experience now. Having people in different places that embrace it. I have a lot of people in like London, Germany, Brazil, Japan. So I would love so much to go and perform in those cities. But that's going to be really exciting. But I think for people that do get nervous with performance, just use that anxiety or adrenaline to, dive into the song and make the best of it. Feed off the crowd.
Yeah, and I think what's cool too, people get to see a different side of you, right? Because again, like right, like for some, like who don't perform live, let's just say they'll just post a song on Spotify or YouTube, which is great, right? Anything you could do to get your name out there is great. But when you're doing it live and you get to move with the music, people see your body language, the way you interact with the fans, the way you have the facial expressions, everything. That's what makes you stand out from the crowd. You look at someone like, again, like Freddie Mercury. Again, I watched the movie last night, so it's fresh in my head, but you just see how he dressed, his body language, the hey, like the thing he's done, everything makes it so powerful. That's why I think like I love going to concerts. I love seeing people live, and you just get to watch this person as they are.
Even like the AO thing, it's just feeding off of the energy. And I feel like there's nothing like a concert. The energy that, between the artists on stage and the band and everyone in the crowd, it's just nothing like it. And my favorite thing to see is like always the dads that get dragged along that are like, I don't want to be here. And then they know every single word to like a Taylor Swift song. So, it's a very fun experience. And my question for you is, what was your first concert?
My first concert was New Order, but my favorite concert I've been to, I gotta say the weekend was pretty good. I gotta say it's really good. And what was my other favorite one? It's a good question. Uh, I don't know, but the so my favorite, and I think the a concert that I really want to go to. I want to see Tears for Fears. I really
Mm.
want to see them. So yeah, but how about you? Since we're on the topic, what was your first and what's your favorite? And what's a concert that
God.
you haven't been to?
Um, so my first concert, I believe, was Hannah Montana and
Oh,
Best of Both Worlds tour. That was a great first concert. I definitely cried too much and it was great. My favorite concert to this day was Tame Impala because it was a great like an immersive experience, but I think also it's about who you go with. Pick your concert buddies wisely. I went with my sister. It was the first concert, with COVID that I went to, and it was in Portland, and it was just like during the summer, and it was amazing.
I saw Tame Impala as well. They're great.
Yeah, it was so good. There's so many people I would love to see live. I would love to see Lana. Still haven't seen Lana. Um, I don't know, Arctic Monkeys because they rarely tour, I feel like in North America, so it'd be amazing. Kali Uchis, oh my gosh,
Oh
she's
yeah, 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 yeah.
she's also I think one of those people where she really transforms on stage. Like you have artists that are, one way off stage, but then when they're on stage, they're just like goddess energy.
Yeah, when you mentioned that Hannah Montana thing though, that was such a throwback because we're the same age, I think. I'm a 99. So I'm
I'm
not
99.
there you go.
Okay.
Hey. So when you said Hannah Montana, I'm like I used to watch that show. And like even
Oh
when you
yeah.
said like Arctic Monkeys, I remember like in beginning of high school, grade nine, that was the era, like Neighborhood, Arctic Monkeys.
That
Those
was such a good era for music. And I don't know if it's biased because it's just nostalgic for us, maybe, but I still stand by saying I think 2013 was one of the best years of music in the century thus far. Like we had
Absolutely.
the Lana album, we had the Arctic Monkeys, we had the Neighborhood, we just had it was just so good. And concerts were just great.
I heard you have a few upcoming songs. I'm not sure if you're able to talk about any of them, but heard you have three. Am I
I
mistaken?
so right now I'm just letting honestly the fans choose because I feel like I want them to get that next single and just really love it. And I feel like with TikTok and having, the ability to just kind of throw things out, right after this, if I wanted to, I could just leak my whole album, which I'm not gonna do. But
Mhm.
you can just get that instant answer. And so I'm kind of just teasing three songs right now, gauging, what people love. And I think even through doing that, it's kind of setting the tone of what the rest of my music is going to sound like and what they could expect for, an EP or for an album. And I feel like for the first time, probably throughout my entire career, I'm actually releasing music that I'm super proud of and I feel is me. So I'm excited for them to get that
That,
taste of that.
that's awesome. Well, we're all really excited for you. Like I said, it's funny. Like again, I started watching your videos on like TikTok and YouTube, and now we're talking face to face. Like it's just awesome. Like I really
Awesome.
feel like you're a great person, and I wish you all the success with this. And yeah, we'll stay in touch. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
No
Thank you.
problem. Take it easy.